My husband and I have been together for a decade, married for 3, and our bond is incredibly strong. I deeply love him, and we share a unique connection. Before meeting him, I had relationships that I was not serious about. But once we were together, I never considered being unfaithful for many years. However, 8 months ago, I started an affair with a coworker. It was completely unintentional, and I had no plans of ever cheating, but it just happened. This coworker was someone who I had worked with for over 5 years, and he had sort of been a mentor to me at the beginning because he was much senior to me. So it came as such a shock when our relationship suddenly turned flirtatious, then sexual. We had a lot of sexual encounters, about 2 per week, for about 7 months. It was exhilarating, and we both came to look forward to our sexy time together as it provided an escape from our partners and children. This affair lasted for months, during which I pretended to my husband that everything was fine, unable to confront the reality of my actions. When my husband discovered the affair, he was understandably devastated. I deeply regret not telling him when it began and allowing it to continue. He has requested a separation as he works on his mental health and is unsure if he wants to reconcile our relationship. I am willing to do whatever it takes to repair our marriage, but I respect his need for space. I love my husband so much, and I'd love nothing but to have my old life back. My old peaceful, boring life with my husband and kids. At this point, the decision is in my husband's hands, and all I want is for him to be okay. I miss him and our life together, and I am willing to do anything to regain his respect and rebuild our relationship. I cannot believe I threw it all away for a fling. I regret it so much. Edit, husband saw the messages on my phone. I had hidden that chat app in a folder so my husband wasn't even aware that I had it. I still don't understand how he came across it unless he knew it was there and decided to snoop then play it off as an accident. Update. It's not good. Today my husband asked me to leave our house because he said seeing me was nauseating. I've refused to leave and he's been irritated all day. Where would I go? Without my kids too? I fear my kids are starting to see a different side to mom's and dad's relationship. Besides, what would they think if they saw mom and dad living separately? What kind of example would we be setting our girls? Update 2. My husband and I are officially separated starting today. Our state mandates a 6-month separation before finalizing the divorce. Today, I moved out to a small 1-bedroom apartment few blocks down. I'm all alone. I miss my kids more than anything. Husband and I both agreed that I'll only have them on Saturdays. My place is quite small and doesn't have space for them. We want to make this transition as smooth as possible for them. I do not why I did what I did. I had the perfect life. I lived in a nice 5-bedroom house with a pool. I drove an Audi. I was respected at my job. My kids loved me. Now I have none but the dreary 4 walls of my apartment. My mental health is at an all-time low. Story 2. So I've been with my wife since 2008 and we've been married since 2012. We also have a 7-month-old son. I've always thought we have had a pretty good relationship, although we have had some bumps in the past that now have made me question a lot of our relationship. She was 16 and I was 21 when we first started dating. At some point I found out she has been texting some guy and sent a nude to him. I confronted her and she confessed and gave no real reason other than it was a mistake. Over the years, I have found her texting guys fairly often having what I thought were inappropriate conversations with someone who was just considered a friend, sexual in nature. Confrontation on the several times she was caught usually ended with me getting blamed for not trusting her and being nosy on her phone. Fast forward to just under 3 years ago before we got married. We had a party at our house with a bunch of friends over. One particular girl stayed after everyone else had left. Her and my wife starting fooling around, and we eventually had a threesome with her. We were both quite drunk, and in the midst of this, she asked her friend if I could fuck her. She said yes, so I obliged. The next day, she told me it was wrong for me to have done that, and for the next few months would cry and tell me how much I hurt her by doing that and cheating on her. Fast forwards to Friday. She has a high school friend who was moving back to his hometown, so she and one of her girlfriends were going downtown to go dancing and hang out with him one last time. She has always done this without me fairly often throughout our relationship, so I thought nothing of it. I woke up around 5 a.m. Saturday morning and realized that she wasn't home. I thought this was pretty odd even for her. I had no texts or missed calls that she would usually do to let me know where she was and that she was okay. My first instinct was to check the GPS on her phone. Okay, phone was still working, wasn't in a bad area either, so I text her and ask her where she is. She stated that she was at her girlfriend's house sobering up and that she had gotten sick. After she had finally come back home in about an hour or so, we had sex and then she went to bed. I know her pretty well, and I can tell when something is up, so I went on her phone and found texts and nude pictures sent back and forth between her and an ex. I promptly woke her up and confronted her. She denied everything, and as I pressured her more, she admitted to giving him a handjob and nothing more. I tried pressuring her to make sure she wasn't leaving anything out, but she wouldn't give. Let's jump to Monday. While at work, I texted her about how I was hurt and didn't believe she was telling me everything. She said she would once I got home, but eventually she caved in and texted me the supposed real story. She said that this has been going on about a month though, and she had sex with this ex on Friday, sometime during the day. She says she hated herself for doing it and ran out in the middle. But I can't fault her too much because I essentially cheated when we had the threesome, and it devastated her. I've never felt so hurt and violated in my life. Yet at the same time, I feel some numb and can't describe all the emotions I feel swirling around and gnawing at me from inside. We have decided to do counseling, but how can I ever trust her again and believe that she is telling me everything? I'm scared to get rid of her because I thought we had an amazing relationship, and I can't throw my son out because he is everything to me, and she will have nowhere to go with him. Edit. I know I'm not perfect. I'm an asshole. I have some anger issues and I can be difficult to get along with. But I work hard while she has been in school this entire relationship, pay all the bills including her cell and car insurance. I even bought a new car in both names for her primarily to use. But she feels like I don't show her enough love and attention and don't help with our son enough. I love my son to death and don't want to risk separation from him. OP, you married a 20-year-old girl known to be unfaithful and then had a child with her. Of course, what could ever go wrong? Do get a DNA test done on your child if you've ever had any doubts. Comments. Don't let her use the threesome against you in this. Yes, she was hurt, but she's the one who said it was okay in the first place. That's not cheating, that's buyer's remorse. Trust will need to be rebuilt. Right now, you have none for her. She must be completely open and transparent with you. What you need is time. She needs to sleep in another room. You two need to talk out what's going on. Only when you are comfortable with her, let her back in. Use the counselor, they really can help. But most of all, talk about how you feel, because how you feel about the other person is really what a marriage is all about. Her behavior is not a one-off incident, it has now become a pattern. It's hard for me to give cheaters the benefit of the doubt when they don't confess on their own, trickle truth, and lie. I know you have a child with this woman, but what redeeming qualities does she have? It looks like she will always cheat unless she has her issues resolved, which would require therapy. Your threesome wasn't under the best of circumstances, but in no way did you cheat. It looks like she is using this cheating card to get out of any wrongful situation she finds herself in. A tit-for-tat attitude is extremely unhealthy and needs to be addressed.